What up, peeps? It's your super sketch artist Antonio back, and it is time to run it back. Now, on today's episode, we have a very cool figure as suggested by one of my Padawans, Jay. He asked for this figure. We've tried to build teams around this figure, and we just couldn't because we didn't like him, and that is none other than Clerk, the Super-Skrull. With the Fantastic Four movie on its way, we might see a sneak peek of this character. Who knows? We've seen Skrulls. If you watch the Secret Invasion, we've seen Super-Skrulls already. This is a beautiful sculpt. This is a beautiful sculpt. Oh my goodness, this sculpt is just very, very beautiful. And this figure itself just needs some tweaks to be better. So let's run it back. But before we do that, as we see, he is 75 or 50 points. He has a Super-Skrull. Well, he has the Skrull and Guardians team ability because this was around the time of the Annihilation storyline in the comics. If you haven't read Annihilation, please go back and read Annihilation. It's probably the best space Marvel story. Like, it's a absolutely amazing, and it spans pretty much like the whole space landscape. It has Surfer in it, has the Guardians in it, has my boy Nova in it. It has the Annihilation wave. That's why it's called Annihilation. And Annihilus is a beast in that. He's a beast. But so is Clerk. Like, he's a soldier in this one. And let's go to his keywords, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, Skrulls, Ruler, Soldier, Spy, and Warrior. Now, these are all great keywords that allows him to be on a myriad of different teams and, jump on different teams. So no changes there. He actually has all the keywords that I would have definitely given him. He has the Ruler keyword because he was in a high command at this time for the Skrulls and everything like that. And he put in some work. He has just one trait, and this is long gone now, but it is talking about sidekicks, and it says choose a friendly sidekick and display standard power, attack power that an opposing character adjacent to that sidekick can use. The chosen sidekick can use that power this turn. Allies and sidekicks and captains and stuff. That was a nice idea. It just went the way of the dodo. So that's going to get X'd easily. And he has a damage power, which is this is a more bare bones version of Super-Skrull. And that damage power is leadership and shape change. When a Super-Skrull uses leadership and succeeds, you may instead generate a, this came out in the Empire set, 002 Skrull Spy on click number 1. Now, I love characters that generate other characters. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things. Like, character generation, bystander generation is one of my favorite things in the game. So, but those things are, I would say he could make the new, I guess, scrolls that are the Kree guys in the collector's trove, but we'll get to that in a second. So with that being the case, again, this figure in itself, it looks beautiful. The sculpt is absolutely amazing, but the issue is at 75 points, even when he came out, he just didn't do enough to justify playing him at 75 points, in my humble opinion. It just wasn't enough. It was a little bit clunky. So with that being the case, first things first, what we are going to do is we are going to take the trait away, and we are going to make it so it better represents who he is at his core, which is a Super-Skrull that stole the powers of the Fantastic Four. I mean, look at this daggone sculpt. He's wielding the powers of the Fantastic Four, and you can see those powers somewhere ish in the dial and everything like that. You get the the Incap for Reed, and the Poison for Johnny, and the Impervious for Ben, and the Charge for Ben, and the shape. You should always have shape change, and running shot for Johnny, and Sue with the defend and everything like that. But I just don't think it's enough. So let's kick this into overdrive. So I'm going to give him a trait that has the names of the Fantastic Four. I'm going to give him 2 traits, but the first trait is going to be, I'll have it use your enemy's powers against them. And that is him using the Fantastic Four's powers. So what he's going to do is he can use stealth uh, from um, from Sue, but I was also thinking about barrier as free. Barrier as free is very, very powerful, just like a full barrier, because you make 4 barriers and, Fantastic Four. But I was like, free barrier is just so strong. It's so strong being able to just make a full barrier. So I just went with stealth because Sue's main thing is she can hide, and him using Sue's power, he should be able to hide as well. So Sue's represented by stealth. Now this is a big one, and Ben, the Thing, would be represented with invincible. Now I know a whole dial full of invincible is a lot of points, but if you can outwit it, then he doesn't have outwit protection, so you just got to get close to him and you can outwit him, and then you can go. Giant Reach 4, which is represented again Fantastic Four, and also Reed, and Energy Explosion as well. So he starts off with that running shot, so give him a little bit of being able to pepper some folk up. I was gonna give him Psychic Blast, but Energy Explosion just seems more like Johnny. I also would have given him Poison if he already didn't have Poison back dial. I was trying not to give him powers that he already had, and him having Impervious top dial along with Invincible, what that allows you to do is you can use the first thing about Invincible is it can reduce penetrating damage, right? So Invincible already would give you the reduce penetrating damage, but that's a passive thing that it can already do. But then you can use the reduction and the rollout of the 5 or 6 for the Impervious. So even when you get down to his click 5 where he has no reduction, I don't think someone like the Super-Skrull, again, who has the powers of the Fantastic Four, should ever just take a clean hit and not have some kind of reduction. That's just me, and this is me running it back. So that's what I end up having. And then the second trait that I would give him is taking a page out of one of Heroclix's favorite pieces that's come out in the last few years, and that is Orb. And instead of, Orb is he takes ones, and now, which is something that no one ever usually wants to roll in Heroclix, and he makes it so that the ones can turn into a crit hit. So I would do that same thing with Clert here. I would make his 2s so that when he rolls a 2, you can change that other dice into another 2 and it's a critical hit. Meaning that's a 4. It equals 4, Fantastic Four. So I would say is a crit hit. I was going to say like attack rolls of, a 2 are again, or double 2s are automatic hit, but let's just make it a crit hit. Let's just go all the way to wall. This is a super rare. And I think super rare should be something that is super rare. And that Orb was a rare, and he was used all over the place. So let's do something cool with the Super-Skrull. So let's do that trait that makes his 2s. If he rolls a 2, he can change that into a other 2, and that is a crit hit. Now, again, that adds even more access to if that Energy Explosion hits, just like with the Orb, makes that crit hit hurt. And I like that without trying to bump up his. I almost did with Ben. I almost gave him Close Combat Expert with Ben, but I feel like if you can kind of stay back and kind of stay at him having the giant reach and everything like that without bumping his damage all the way up, giving him the trait that makes his 2s into critical hits, and just for him, instead of Orb where he can change friendly into a crit hit, this would be just for him because he's the one wielding the powers of the Fantastic Four. So those would be the 2 traits. And then when it comes to the damage power, I actually really like it. Him having leadership, very on brand for what he was during this time in the Annihilation story. So I would keep that the same, except so he would have leadership and shape change, period. Okay. And when he uses leadership and succeeds, he may instead generate a Skrull Spy bystander. So I would, of course, put a Skrull bystander on the back. I would probably make it have the values that the Skrull Spy did. I would do max 4. Again, we're keeping with the 4 theme. I'll do max 4. And, that's really it. Him being as powerful as he is, I actually would keep him exactly how he is. He'd either be 50, points for, and I would make him be, yeah, those 50 points. I would make that actually those first 3 clicks for 50 points. No. Make it start at click 4 for 50 points, because no one would ever play him at 75 points if he was only 50 points for those first 3 clicks. Nobody would ever play him, which is exactly why it is the way that it is right now on his dial at 75 and 50. I would keep him at 75 points. Again, one outwit makes it so you can just kind of, ping him. If you were to play him at 50, you hit him one good time. He doesn't make it impervious. It doesn't make the shape change. Now he, is way easier to deal with. Just because Invincible doesn't, give that rollout. But eventually, him having that 19 with Invincible, I mean, who wouldn't want to play at 75 points? Who wouldn't want to play a full dial of Invincible? Just who wouldn't want to do it with Skrull Team ability? You would essentially need two outwits to kind of shut him down. And the Fantastic Four, him being able to legitimately beat multiple times the Fantastic Four just by himself, is something that I think is just not a small feat, and should have a dial that can take on the Fantastic Four by themselves if they were to fight him with the additions that I made. So yeah, that is what I would do. Also, him having 6 range with double bolts, woof, energy explosion, and if you rolled the 2 critical hits, woof, the damage output, or just hitting somebody, just hitting 2 people, that's really, really good. So with that being said, what say you? What do you think about the additions and alterations that I did to this amazing figure, amazing looking figure? Because I necessarily don't really like the dial as it stands, but with my alterations, I would play this every day of the week. I would play him all day, every day. What do you think? Please leave your comments below. I love talking clicks. I love talking clicks with anybody that wants to talk. I love hearing your opinions. I love hearing what you would like to see ran back. I love it. That's, clicks is my thing. So let me know what you like. As always, do all the YouTube things, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. But as always, it is your super sketch artist, Antonio. As always, be good to yourself. Be good to others. Go be super.